gentlemen, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your charismatic host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. 2 weeks later, and it still sounds just as good. I do thank you for tuning in on this Wednesday evening. We've got a bit of a different type of Wednesday episode for you now that the Indoor Football League season has officially started and we're in indoor and arena football mode. We're going to do a little bit change of pace. We got a special guest, a first-timer, comedian and funny man, wild man, Charles Wieand is going to join me. Heard him on, we follow each other on Twitter and tweeted a few times. I wasn't quite sure what to think of him. I was like, is he like a crocodile hunter? Is he a comedian? Is he both? And then a few months back, right around Christmas time, he was on Talk is Jericho, and I was like, holy crap, I know that guy. So I shot him an email. I said, hey, man, let's get you on the show. He was on the road, so he said, follow up with me in a little bit. And then sure enough, and so he's going to be on the show today. Very happy about it. If he's good enough for Talk is Jericho, the Pot of Thunder, the greatest in the world at what he does for podcasting, then he's good enough to be on the Fan Show. It sounds so weird saying that. But no, it's going to be a good one. I always do love a change of pace episode. I know some of you guys that tune in, you may have certain levels of expectation, but I think the best expectation is no expectation at all. That's the motto here on the Fan Show. If you have expectations, you're wrong, because we're going to throw a curveball at you. As the late, great Roddy Piper once said, just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions. So expect the unexpected here on the Fan Show. That's kind of the point. So before we welcome him, which I told him probably about 20 minutes from now, that might be, I don't know, it depends on what all we need to talk about. There is plenty to discuss as far as headlines go, so what do you say we just go ahead and hop right in? And the headlines, let's go ahead and start with the indoor ball. The Indoor Football League officially announced its Players of the Week for Week 1. In fact, I have that very email, that official press release. So IFL Players of the Week, Week 1 announced. Quarterback Drew Powell of the Iowa Barnstormers. Now, I said in a Facebook post last night, because I was watching that Iowa Green Bay game, and I thought it was a fantastic game. I really do. Thought it was a great game. And the first half was awesome. And then third quarter was another really good one. That Green Bay defense is great. Iowa, they definitely have some playmakers on offense. Ryan Ballantyne would have gotten the player of the game had I been there for that stop. So we'll see here in a week and a half if he's got what it takes to get that nod again when it counts, when I'm actually there. But then the fourth quarter happened, and it really was the tale of a turnover, because Green Bay was with them all the way. In fact, Green Bay had the lead early on, but Cody Barber, good friend of mine, was 5 for 5 and 2 for 2. So he was 5 for 5 in extra points and 2 for 2 for actual field goals. He had himself a hell of a day. He earned the Special Teams Player of the Week nod, so congratulations to him. And Drew Powell. On the defensive side, it went to Nebraska's Mike Tavares, a linebacker. Started off with, let's see, what did we get here? So he recorded 13 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. 13 tackles tied him for most in the IFL in Week 1. So that was obviously an incredible defensive effort by him, kind of like Chris McAllister getting player of the game for the Arizona Rattlers, which, honorable mention, Cedric Dozier of the Cedar Rapids Titans, Chris McAllister of the Arizona Rattlers, Josh Francis of the Green Bay Blizzard, and Zach Allen of the Iowa Barnstormers. Special Teams Player of the Week, Cody Barber. Honorable mention for Special Teams, B.J. Hill of Green Bay, Daniel Lindsay, Sioux Falls, Raphael Lawson, Cedar Rapids, and Sawyer Petrie of the Arizona Rattlers. And then offense, Drew Powell got the honor, but I think there was honorable mention for Damian Fleming, quarterback Nebraska, Darrell Monroe, running back Arizona, Jake Medlock, quarterback Cedar Rapids, and then Ryan Ballantyne, wide receiver Iowa. So I wasn't too far off. I mean, the IFL and I are going to disagree on some things. This is one of them. I think it should have been Ryan Ballantyne, but hey, it is what it is. That's why I have my own award and my own belt to bestow upon them when they do amazing things. So that was the indoor news. Not a whole lot else going on. Of course, we do have the one game coming up this week. That's fine. And then stop number 2 and 3 of the Fan Show Tour, doubleheader, March 10th and 11th. That should be a lot of fun. Iowa hosting the Arizona Rattlers, and then, of course, the Nebraska Danger hosting the Green Bay Blizzard. It'll be good to see all those guys again. Very excited, especially for my first time to Nebraska. Got some stuff in store for all of you that I will be seeing on those stops on the tour. As far as the rest of the headlines today, NFL, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. And I know that this was kind of a mutual thing, but the NFL does some dumb stuff. I mean, they do some dumb shit every now and then. Let's be real, okay? The NFL, they're the NFL, and they're kind of like the WWE, where they're going to do whatever they want because it's like, what else are you going to do? Well, one of the things that I never understood is some of their sponsors and partnerships that they have. There's some that make perfect sense, okay? So when you think of soft drinks, okay, soda, you think of Pepsi, Coke, Mountain Dew, right? That's pretty much your top 3 right there. If someone said, name 3 big brand of soda or soft drink, Pepsi, Coke, Mountain Dew. Maybe Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper. That might be like the third one. But those are going to be your top ones. When it comes to sports, they say name off your top sports. You're probably going to say NFL, MLB, NBA. Right? Hockey might be up there as well. And then when you list off, I don't know, your top 3, what's another good? Top 3 cell phone companies. You think, okay, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T. Maybe not in that order. And then, of course, there's T-Mobile. When I think of pizza, all right, when I think of pizza, if somebody said, hey, name off your top 3 pizza places, I'd say Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa Murphy's. Now, I know that Papa Murphy's is technically different from the other two, but Domino's has got to be that name that just comes up first because a lot of people eat Domino's pizza, and then a lot of people like Pizza Hut. Papa John's, to me, is like the Cricket Mobile or the Boost Mobile or the Mountain Blast or whatever it's called, Dr. Thunder of the consumer world. I don't get it. I never understood how it is that the NFL, who can be that first thing that comes to mind when you say name a sport, NFL football, could have its biggest food provider partner be Papa John's. Well, that has come to an end today as the NFL has said farewell to Mr. John. He can go and hang out with Peyton Manning now all he wants without interruption. And hello to Pizza Hut. It took like less than 24 hours to make this this whole thing happen, which, hey, it's whatever. News roundup from around the NFL. This is actually a Twitter moment right now. Matt Forte announced his retirement today. Very sad to see him go, but man, what a hell of a career. Only thing he didn't do was get a ring. And I think, that you can say that for a lot of players, but Matt Forte, I had him on many a fantasy team and he did very well. So thank you, Matt Forte. So Matt Forte of the now Jets has announced his retirement. Since coming to the league in 2008, Forte has 14,468 total yards from scrimmage, which is the most in the NFL over that span. Like I said, he's just that good. The end of an era in Carolina, the Panthers released veteran running back Jonathan Stewart, who played every snap of his career with the team. There was talk of possible pay cut, but it wasn't meant to be. And that's via Ian Rappaport of NFL.com. That one, okay, the Christian McCaffrey thing, like, you want to have it make sense, right? You think, well, that makes sense. But at the same time, they were utilized very different. And I think if anything can be learned from last season is you got to look at New Orleans with Kamara and Ingram. You can have two good running backs. Like, that doesn't have to not be a thing. You can have two very good running backs. Crazy, though. Ron Rivera said, Jonathan played the game the way you want. He brought an element of toughness as a runner that set the tempo for our team. He is a great pro, and I appreciate who he is as a young man and thank him for the contribution he made. That's kind words from Ron Rivera. Let's see here. They were both from the 2008 draft class. How crazy is that? Jets will release defensive lineman Muhammad Wilkerson. Ryan Pace confirms the Bears will release Mike Glennon once the new league year starts. And that was via the Bears on Twitter. Let's see here. Yeah, that was just such a bad situation with Mike Glennon and then Trubisky and whatever else. The deal was 3 years for $45 million. Now 1 year, $16 million. So hopefully we all learned a little something. The Lions have officially franchise tagged pass rusher Ziggy Ansah, and I believe we discussed that yesterday as well, or Ezekiel Ansah, however you want to say it. Kevin Colbert said the Steelers are not interested in trading Martavis Bryant and have not called anyone. That is per Dale Lawley, whoever that guy is. I don't know. Cardinals GM Keim, however you say it, said they are in evaluation process with Honey Badger's contract. Interesting. Well, Broncos cornerback Aqib Talib roster spot in jeopardy. Well, no shit. God. The dude has so many issues on the field. Like, we're worried about players off the field. This guy can't keep his hands to himself. Granted, he is a cornerback, but I mean, ripping off necklaces and getting in the fights and taking off helmets, it's just, man, at some point you got to put the foot down and draw the line. I don't want him on the Niners. I don't. We don't need that on that team. We just don't. We're in such a good place to move forward positively. Don't want it. I don't care how good he is. Don't want it. Bills head coach Sean McDermott said releasing quarterback Tyrod Taylor is not currently in the team's plans. Quote, Tyrod is a good player, McDermott said. It's way too early to take anything off the table other than cutting him at this point, which is not in our plans. Well, I don't know. I feel like the 2017-2018 Buffalo Bills and Tyrod Taylor is what was the 2015, 2016, 2017 Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins. So this is Redskins, Cousins 2.0, what we're seeing in Buffalo. It's whatever, man. Thomas Dimitroff, Atlanta plans to exercise Vic Beasley's 5th-year option. That'd be a good keep for him. Aaron Rodgers, Packers making progress on extension. You know, it was funny because when Garoppolo got paid, when he was the highest paid quarterback, I said, this is only a temporary thing. Like, there will be a new highest paid player, probably a quarterback, before we even get into probably the draft, but definitely before the preseason. And Aaron Rodgers is that guy that, like, everybody's freaking out over Garoppolo. He's just sitting there, man, Garoppolo just set the market, and I'm Aaron frickin' Rodgers. Like, might as well give him $1 billion contract, Green Bay. I mean, you know that the fans would okay it. But how much is Aaron Rodgers worth if Jimmy Garoppolo is worth $137 million? Which I know isn't, how the contract actually is. There's, guarantees and there's incentives and whatever else. It's broken up into however many years. But the point is that if you're Aaron Rodgers and you know that you're up for negotiation, if you see that headline, you're like, oh, man. It's good to be Aaron Rodgers. It's good to be the king right now. Oh, you go, AA, Ron. Bill O'Brien thinks Deshaun Watson is ahead of schedule in his rehab. Doesn't care that he's rehabbing in Germany. Howie Roseman asked about Nick Foles. quote, our intention is to keep all our good players, and complimented the player, made it clear they'd be fine with keeping him, left himself an out if need be. Mike Garofalo. What the hell does that tweet even mean? Okay, so Howie Roseman asked about Nick Foles. Quote, our intention is to keep all our good players. He says that's a veteran answer. Complimented the player, made it clear they'd be fine with keeping him, left himself an out if need be. Okay, it's a little murky there. For the New York Giants, Coach Shermer, we believe that Eli Manning has got years left as a starting quarterback in this league. Well, of course you're going to say that, because now Jacksonville has closed that door because they went and paid Blake Bortles. Breaking news, Steelers GM Kevin Colbert says linebacker Ryan Shazier will not play in 2018, but will remain a member of the team. Good. I think that's a good move by Steelers and company. That pretty much does it for that little Twitter moment. That's interesting. That's kind of convenient to have there with, the headlines as I read them. But I think the biggest news today is that we have said goodbye to Papa John's and hello to Pizza Hut. I'm very, very, I'm very happy with that. Let's see here. John Elway was quoted Wednesday saying that the Broncos would consider all options in free agency at quarterback. Then asked if that meant the Broncos would consider every quarterback who was available in free agency. He said yes. So I feel like is that a Colin Kaepernick illusion there? Like, are they going towards that? Oh, no, he meant so Broncos would consider Kirk Cousins. I still think Luck or Eli would find themselves in Denver before Kirk Cousins. Elway's a guy that either wants a young gunslinger that he can develop as a Bronco, right? Like from start to finish, or he's going to go out there and get that Peyton Manning that's still got a few years left, and he's going to spend all the money to put all the right pieces around him and go and get that Super Bowl. He doesn't do an in-between. And to me, Kirk Cousins is kind of that in-between. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, a lot of movement today. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But one day after Papa John's separated from NFL, League announced Pizza Hut is in as the new official pizza of the NFL. So that'll do it for the headlines. I'm going to go ahead and welcome my guest after this quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more of the Fan Show coming up after this.
This is The Sheet.
Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw that Sky hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns. 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. And only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten. You could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow. You guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? Just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how does a puddle right outside your house? Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. You're listening to The Sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ciccarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellect, The experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I do not have my guest just yet. I called him. He said he needed another about 90 seconds. So I'm going to give it to him. That's fine by me. I'm in no rush. It's his first time. Maybe he's got the jitters. I don't know, but it's okay. It's okay. So we're going to give it about another 60 seconds here, and then I'll go ahead and bring him on. But, yeah, the Papa John's pizza thing, that's so funny. I love it. I really do. I mean... Look, when the Empire was a thing, yeah, wow, way back Wednesday, when the Empire was a thing and they were partnered with Papa John's, like that made sense because they're a chain, or they're a franchise, whatever the correct term is, where you own one under that name, but they're all owned by different people. So we have a lot of them in Spokane, and so they partnered up, and they would have that deal where every time they scored a touchdown, the amount of points that they had scored was the percentage off you got, up to I think 70. So the Empire would score a lot, and so you'd get 50-60% off your Papa John's pizza. And when you're going back to school and you're bartending part-time and you're doing a podcast, you look for anything that is cheap and easy. So yeah, I ate a lot of Papa John's that season, and I'm not proud to say that. There's a reason why I hadn't eaten it before. So, you live, you learn. But if Papa John's is one of your sponsors, more power to you. But I just think that it just seemed such an odd pairing to me. The NFL partnered with Papa John's. It's kind of like the WWE with that Rocket League thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel WWE could get just about anyone as a partner and sponsor that it wants to. Anyone. There's no one off the table. But Rocket League is just so funny to me. But they do Snickers. That one makes a lot of sense. Hey, name your top 3 candy bars. Snickers, Kit Kat, and Crunch. Something like that, right? Snickers is going to be in your top 3. Snickers is top 3. WWE is one of the best. It makes sense. So it's whatever. Stacker 2. God, there's another way back Wednesday when Jericho and Fozzy were first starting out. John Cena was still rapping. Yeah. All right. So that's enough of me buying time. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get Charles back on. So we'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and with me is Funny Man, host of the Wild Charles Show. It is comedian, and I don't know. We're going to find out the official job title of Mr. Charles Wieand. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. So you and I, funny story, we follow each other on Twitter, and there's been like a few interactions back and forth. You said that when you went on tour, if you could find people whose driveways you could park in with your RV, and I said, hey, if you make it up to Washington.
You know what? I'm parked on the beach right now. I can literally, you guys, I am live from Holly Beach in Louisiana, and I can literally look out my window right now and see the waves.
Wow. Now, see, that's the life right there.
So,
what is your official title? Like, what does it read on your business card?
Oh man, I had a business card, but I feel like I changed my title. You know, I had Epic Adventure on my business card.
I would love to have a card that said Epic Adventurer, because it's just like people would be like, well, what do you mean? And then you'd be
what
like,
is that?
Let me tell you something about Epic Adventurer.
It's got a picture of me with an alligator, of course. But no, I do. Man, I do so many different things. I do a bit of comedy, some crazy stunts, animal wrangling, travel hosting. Like, I just like to entertain people. I love to entertain people, and I love to share things with people and do some crazy stuff. And that's what I do.
See, I like that, because for me, you know, the show is about entertaining people too. I mean, it's I told everyone at the start of the broadcast, I said, you know, it's normally our time of year to talk about arena football and maybe the Winter Olympics and basketball and getting ready for March Madness. But I said, we're going to throw a curveball at you, and I'm going to bring on a guy who's an epic adventurer, and we're going to...
A guy who swims with alligators.
we're gonna have some fun with this. But
yeah, no, it was fun.
I heard you on Talk is Jericho, and he's probably number one on my list of people to interview, because he's just so good at so many things. I mean, I'm a huge wrestling fan, so obviously... Oh,
man, that was a blast. That was a blast. That podcast was a blast. Hanging out with Chris was bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
He just seems like such a chill guy, and he plays character so well in the ring, and then he's a rock star, and then he does podcasts, and he's got a cruise now. It's just like, what can't this guy do? And,
yeah, no, he's awesome. Yeah.
But no, that was a great talk that you guys had. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out and see if I can get him on my show, because
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yep, and Chris, like that's the thing. I mean, he's got all those talents, you know, and like diverse talents. You know, he's got the band is good, you know, and the music is good. He's got the rock star thing going on, and he's talented at it, and he's got the WWE thing and the wrestling thing, and he's talented at that, but also just a super nice and chill, easygoing guy, which is awesome.
Well, I don't know if you remember the movie called the Great White Hype, but it was basically the story of Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, where it had Damon Wayans and Samuel L. Jackson, and I forget what the white guy's name is in the movie, but basically, so they find this guy who is pretty much a grunge rocker that did like a year in amateur boxing, and they're trying to find an opponent for Damon Wayans' character, who's like the reigning champion.
And they're actually playing Conor and Floyd?
No, it was just funny because when that happened, I was like, we've seen this story before. It was a movie back in the 90s. I don't know if you guys saw how that ended.
Oh, so they just found a random person to like come in and fight?
Yeah, and so he's playing this grunge music, and he's just like not very good at it. And so then he was also a boxer, and so it's this guy who's like trying to find kind of his calling in life, and so he's like the opposite of Chris Jericho, where he has all these things that he's done, but he's not very good at any of them, where Chris Jericho can't find anything that he's not really good at.
Yeah. You can be a jack of all trades, master of none, right?
Exactly. But
I mean,
for you though, you're kind of right up there. I mean, I don't know how many slashes there are on your business card as far as the epic adventurer and alligator wrangler and comedian, but how did this all start? Like, which was the first one that you put on the card? And we're speaking, of course, you know, like that's going to be our point of reference is when you started and how you got into
what
comedy.
was I doing first? What was I doing first?
And how you added on each thing.
Well, I started out and I grew up, I always loved the outdoors and I always loved being outside and doing kind of adventurous kind of stuff like that, And when I started making videos, the funny thing was like I was just making videos kind of long story short, my uncle used to have a TV show where he did like outdoor stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do my own on the internet. Right. And I'm going to go and do some of this stuff and I'll show them how I would do a show. Right. And then I also started like, but what if I did it all kind of a little bit tongue in cheek and, did some of it where it's kind of like a little bit of parody in there. You know what I mean? Even poking fun at my uncle a little bit, poking fun at some of the outdoor shows, poking fun at kind of the adventurer kind of things or even like, and then I started getting into more doing like, well, let me add a little bit of parody in there, do a little bit of goofball, do the comedy, get the comedy going on there, And so that's kind of how I started getting into doing more of the comedy aspects of it because I really like to be entertaining and make people laugh and not just like, hey, here's me doing some like, oh, I'm wrangling an alligator, right? I'm such a hard ass, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys out there already doing that. You can watch those guys do that and be, oh, I'm a tough guy. Yeah, I like to like do a little bit like, a little tongue in cheek on some of it. So, if I'm doing it, I'm going into a pond of alligators. What if I got an inflatable crocodile and went in the pond with an inflatable crocodile, and like floating around? And so, or like with the viral beekeeping video, what if I did bees naked? There's a lot of people, oh, bees are so scary. Well, I'm just going to go out there and just do it nonchalantly in the buff. Wow. So, yeah, so, I mean, I'm kind of a goofball personality. So I that just comes out in the videos, but I've also been doing a lot of stuff that's, where people learn stuff. They learn stuff about animals or about travel. And I've been doing some stuff that's a little more educational too. I'm still a goofball, but.
So then let me ask you this. When it came to the animal wrangling, specifically with like alligators, who was your bigger inspiration, Steve Irwin or Joe Dirt?
Joe Dirt.
I was really hoping you would get that reference. You didn't say anything
about Happy Gilmore in there, man.
Oh, that's no Happy
Gilmore. Oh, I love that movie, Joe Dirt, but he wasn't my gator. It was not my gator inspiration. I do love that movie. That's good. That's good stuff. Believe it or not, there are pictures out there where in my younger years I had not that I'm in my older years now, but I had a mullet. I had a mullet past the point where they were popular. So I had a Joe Dirt upbringing.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So but no. With Steve Irwin is obviously a big inspiration, and like the guy was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, with all that, and then I always grew up like watching like Indiana Jones and some of these adventure movies and stuff like that. So and I kind of like. I wanted to be like that in real life, and, seeing, like Crocodile Hunter and guys out there doing like the close animal interactions. The gator thing was funny because it started out as a joke. Honestly, it started out as a joke between me and another friend. We were out, down in Florida and he was just joking around. Why don't you get in the water with that alligator? And it kind of, we had actually just been out shark diving and we had done some of that other stuff, but and it just planted a seed in my head. And I'm just like, how would I learn how to actually wrangle alligators, And so, I've always liked alligators. I always thought alligators were cool. I used to have bad dreams about alligators like trying to eat me, right? But this idea got planted by my buddy who was joking around, yeah, if you're real tough, you just get in the water and jump into the water with it, right? So kind of like it just planted that seed in my head, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find somebody that can teach me an alligator wrangle. So I looked around, I reached out to a few people, and I found the guy that taught me, Bob Freer, who's been on Animal Planet, and he's been on a bunch of different animal shows, and they kind of call him the Gator Whisperer. And I was like, hey, can you teach me how to wrangle alligators? So
Wow.
I went down there and I did it. And after a bit of learning, I got in the water with them. So
That's so great. Well, when it comes to your story and your kind of origins here, I know that so many people get into what they're doing by sheer accident. Like Brad Williams, great comedian, he actually was telling the story about how he got into it, where he was at a comedy show and a guy started doing jokes about little people, and he's like, "Are there any in the audience?" And he raises his hand, right, and he gets up on stage, and the guy,
he is little.
yeah, and the guy starts asking him all these questions, and he wasn't even meaning to be funny, but the answers that he was giving, like everybody was just like laughing their ass off. And so for you, it seems like you're kind of Crocodile Hunter Steve Irwin meets, like, I don't want to say like Jackass, but when did it become like less I want to go wrangle alligators and more like how can I make this funny?
I think that there's a balance between there's a balance with it. So I'm a goofball, so I'm not going to be 100% serious all the time. So that's just how I am, right? You know, and so that just comes out in my personality. And what one of some of the things is I don't know. I just thought that there are a lot of guys out there doing stuff that's, you know, there's a lot. I mean, you got the Gator Boys and you got people doing stuff that are serious. I mean, and I do stuff serious too. Like I've done stuff where it's very conservationist and animal facts. I've been doing a lot of new episodes where I go to animal rescues and people learn stuff, but I'm also always still a goofball. You know, I always have that like bend in my personality where it's just kind of like that. And I guess one of the things that I really have enjoyed as the following has grown, because, you know, I've grown up to like 300,000 followers on Twitter now. And the Facebook Watch show is really growing, is starting to really grow now. And is this that I love entertaining people. I like making people laugh and entertaining people. And it's not just laughing, it's also entertaining. I want to show them really cool stuff and get them engaged and be like, wow, that's really cool. And then I want to give them a chuckle too, you know?
What's the one animal that you will not mess with? Like somebody at a comedy show is just like, hey, you should do this. And you're like, nope, that's my nope right there. That's my line.
Well, I'm single.
Oh, wow. That was gold right there. Perfect answer.
In actual animals, I don't know if there is. I don't know if there is one. I haven't done anything with like saltwater crocs, and they definitely have big personalities, and that's big personalities. They'll eat you. But I really want to do a video with a great white at some point.
Wow,
I want to do brave. outside of the cage with a great white. But but I mean, it's not like I don't think there's really one that I wouldn't, you know. So
I just figured that even a person as well versed as you and like always wanting the next challenge. I mean, even Ace Ventura was terrified of bats, you know, and it was like, oh, I thought you were a lover of all animals.
Yeah, no, yeah. So like, yeah, and I mean, you have Indiana Jones. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yes,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Why did it have to be snakes? Anything with snakes. Well, you know, I have fears. I do have fears. But my fears aren't animals. I mean, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. Like I am afraid of heights. Like animals, maybe for better or for worse, they don't really. I mean, gators do scare me. I have apprehension, you know, and I'm cautious. I'm just not like a total like, oh, let's just go do this. Hold my beer, you know. Hey, hold my beer. I'm getting in the water with that. I know how they act, you know, and I trained and I know I learned how they move. I learned how to you know, how to pull them out and how they'll spin. You know, I know what they're going to do, right? So even when I do the videos where it's just kind of like nonchalantly getting in and just paddling around, I got a plan. You know, I got a plan back there. I just like to make it look, you know, a little bit like ludicrous, right? But as far as like fears, like, man, like heights, like, but then I've pushed myself for that too. You know, I've done skydiving now, and I thought, you know, jumping out of airplanes is the scariest thing I could ever do. Animals, you like, they're scary, right? I'm not going to downplay it, right? But they can be scary. But a lot of animals, it's more about knowing, their behavior, knowing how they act. And if you know kind of the rules for dealing with them, they're not scary. I mean, the Discovery Channel a lot of times will make things a lot scarier than they are. But if you know how to interact, you know how to wrangle them, hopefully you're not getting bit. You're not getting, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I honestly absolutely terrified of jumping out of an airplane.
Wow.
I thought I was going to die. That's for me just the most terrifying thing I can imagine. And I did that too. So I did that too. So, and I actually really loved it. I mean, So if there's a fear, I want to conquer it. My bent is basically, if I have a fear, I want to go out there and do it anyway, because it's going to give you a bigger thrill too,
Yeah, and for me, I mean, my rule is if it crawls or slithers, like I'm not about it. 6 legs is my cutoff, and just snakes, man. I can't do it. Spiders, scorpions, nope. Like those are my big nopes right there. And I don't know how much interaction you've had with any of those, other than obviously I've seen the snake videos, but I don't know about like scorpions or giant spiders. But man, those
I'm going to be doing some bug videos. I'm going to be doing some bug videos. Kind of in the works right now. I'm talking to a couple of people. Hey, can we get this? Yeah. So that's, there's going to be some of those coming up. But snakes, nah, I'm not, they're strong. But I've handled big pythons and anacondas but venomous snakes I'm leery about. I am leery. I've done that too. But they'll kill you. They'll drop you dead. So I guess with animals again, then also venomous snakes. They're always kind of like I got a friend who I did an episode with where he lets rattlesnakes just crawl right on him.
No, not even.
I think that's nuts. I don't ever see myself doing that. So, I mean, picking them up with a hook, or even picking up like I picked up cobras, like I could, but letting it just crawl not like wherever it wants. No, it's beyond what I'll ever do.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, no, I get that. What's a week in the life of Charles like a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 kind of thing? What's that look like?
There is no Monday 9 to 5. It's crazy. So I mean, I'm in a different place every day. Like right now I'm rolling across the country. I'm in a camper van. I am pulling into different places. I do live streams multiple times. Not every day, but today I did multiple live streams where I'm live streaming out to my Twitter followers from here, from there. I hit in different parks, hit in different locations. Part of my show now has actually been this whole on the road thing, where for a while I was stationary and I'd pop out to place. I did a lot of traveling, right? But I wasn't 100% on the road, and right now I'm literally 100% on the road. I'm in different campsites. I'm in different cities, like almost every other day. Like I was just in New Orleans 2 weeks what was it? 3 days ago I was in New Orleans. Now I'm in this is Holly Beach, Louisiana, and I'm trekking. I'll be in Texas in a day. And I'm heading over to a gator rescue in Texas. Going to shoot a video over there. So, and I was just out on the bayou. Just shot a swamp episode. So, cypress trees, and that's on Henderson Swamp. So it's just like it's in a different adventure every day.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And I don't know, like if tomorrow is ever a mystery for you as far as getting from point A to B, but I know because I work with and have a lot of comedians on the show. In fact, if you're ever up in the Pacific Northwest in the Spokane or Seattle area, there's plenty of opportunity for you to come here and entertain people here. But it's a tough gig. They're like, for me to actually get my tax return and file it as comedian and not like whatever, like busboy or line cook or whatever it is that they do, is the dream. So I mean, you're out there, you're doing it, and that's great. I just don't know like how tough it can be, from one week to the next. But clearly, you've got a great fan base out there, and you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm out there doing it, and I'm getting different ways to monetize too. Where that's the thing, you got views on internet videos. I do some licensing for the news media pick up a video. I can get some money that way, but it's not like it's not certain income all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough, but what's the next big
taking
thing?
risk? It's taking risk. But then here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy that goes in the ponds of alligators. So financial risk versus losing my legs and stuff. I don't know.
I bet that insurance is hard to come by.
Yeah.
So what's the next big project for you? Like the next thing that you're working on that's coming up?
Well, right now I am trekking across the entire country. Right now the southern country. I may do some northern states too. And one of my goals is to make a video in like almost every state. And so I am trekking across, and I'm adding a lot of travel content, a lot of like destination content, because I want to build this out into way more than just animal wrangling. I'm doing animal wrangling episodes. I'm still totally doing that. I love doing that. But I'm also adding travel content and different interesting people that I run into along the way while I'm traveling. And so right now I'm trekking across. I'm heading down the southern coast. I'm going to be going to Texas. I'm going to be going into Arizona and Nevada and Southern California, and I'll be back out in Hollywood back out in Hollywood. I don't know when, but I will be. next couple months. So.
All right, man. Well, hey, it's been a lot of fun talking to you, and safe travels on the road. But yeah, I do love doing these sort of goofball segments on the show and having the goofball guests, and you're going to be my go-to from now on. I'm going to be like, who can I have on that is a goofball and jack of all trades that's really going to be fun variety to talk? And I'll shoot you a text or email, and we'll see if we can get you back on. But this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there'll definitely be lots of other stuff that I'm working on. So yeah, reach out. It's been fun.
All right,
Thanks
man.
for having me on the show.
Hey, absolutely.
And I'll enjoy some beach for you tomorrow.
You would say that, as I enjoy my minus 10 degrees up here in Washington State. So I appreciate
minus
that.
-10, ow.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means the world here. So. All right, well, he is the Wild Man Charles, and you can follow him on Twitter and check out his...
It's Wild Charles Show on Facebook Watch, and it's Charles Wieand on Twitter. So, yeah, go out there and follow me.
All right.
Got lots of episodes.
You are a great
the
follow.
The most recent one was Voodoo Queen. I talked to a Voodoo Queen. I'm doing paranormal stuff now, too.
Oh, hey, you should go on Ghost Adventures then.
She was on Ghost Adventures, actually, and then she was on my Facebook Watch show.
Oh, so. There you go.
Yeah, so great talking with you.
Hey, you too, man. You take care of yourself out there.
Yep.
All right, that was Charles Wieand. Oh, that was fun. That was a fun one. I enjoyed that. That was good times. So he is out there on the road. He's doing his wrangling. Who was the bigger inspiration, Steve Irwin or Joe Dirt? I'm so happy that he got that reference and knew what I was talking about. Because if he didn't, it would have been like, okay, so we need to wrap this up. Because I don't know if I trust somebody that hasn't seen Joe Dirt. Just kidding. Charles is a good guy. Go follow him. Go watch his videos. Very funny, very entertaining. If it's good enough for Talk is Jericho, it's good enough for the Fan Show. That's what I tell myself. So we're going to wrap this thing up. We'll wrap up this Wednesday right after another quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the Fan Show after this. You're listening to the Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's the Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazzisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It was like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo. Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right?
Yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, we are back. There will be some content on thefanshow.com, which is, of course, your home base for all things football and nonsense. And that will be a week in review and preview of Week 2 of the Indoor Football League. There's only the one game, so not much to preview, but plenty to talk about after the season has finally started and we've all... we've gotten past the worst of it, or so we hope. But great episode last night with Kenneth Van Huel of the Omaha Beef out of the CIF talking about the National Arena League's new rule that went into effect immediately a couple of weeks ago, saying if you play for any other team in any other league, you will not play for us this season. So his thoughts on that. Good times. But don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's episode, last night's episode, or any episode before, you can go and subscribe to the podcast and always be informed when I post a new episode, even if it's a special or a pregame party or whatever. iTunes, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. You can leave reviews. You can rate it on all of those. I always appreciate it. But subscribe, like, share, all of those good things. Follow on Twitter at FanShowOfficial, like on Facebook, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. A lot of likes lately. Not too many Twitter followers, but hey, I'm all about catching up everyone. And so yeah, it's good to grow. And the opportunities that have presented themselves since winning that award have been great. Not like a whole lot, not like life-changing, but every door that opens is one that you want to walk through because you never know what's on the other side. And that's pretty much where we're at here on The Fan Show. But you can also check out the Instagram, The Fan Show, the Snapchat, The Fan Show. And I was having way too much fun with my furry kids last night on Instagram. So for those of you that follow the Instagram and saw my stories, I couldn't pass them up. The three of them looked so cute and were perfect for the sound bites that I put with them. But yeah, those are my kids. That's what I do. But anyway, I think the power rankings are going to be a fun discussion. Those are going to come out probably as soon as I'm done here because I made them last night and I was like noon tomorrow because normally I post them right at noon Pacific. And then I completely forgot, so I got to get them out now, and you guys can go and talk and argue and whatever else you do, but that's why I do them. I really do love the power rankings. A lot of fun. Only 6 teams this year, so it's not quite as hard to shuffle. Or maybe it's more hard to shuffle. I haven't decided yet, but there was some movement. So a new article tonight I will get to at some point, a recap and a preview, and then, of course, the next stop on the Fan Show Tour coming up right around the corner, and we'll have plenty more indoor football action. It is just getting started. Very excited. So it's the most wonderful time of the year with the Fan Show. Got free stuff to give away. Don't forget you can go to teespring.com/thefanshow if you wanted a shirt and didn't get one in Arizona, or if you want a shirt before I even make it to your town for your indoor football game that is a stop on the Fan Show. That'd be nice, somebody orders a couple of shirts and wears them when I get there instead of me having to give them away and maybe see them later. I don't know. But that will do it for this Wednesday Hump Day edition of the Fan Show. So I thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow night we've got your Week 2 preview special. I've got some great guests lined up, so you won't want to miss it. That's tomorrow. Same Fan Show time, same Fan Show place. Until then, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night!
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.